guys, welcome back to Let's Get After It. I'm your host, Alize Khalifa, and for today's episode, I have co-host Caitlin Phillips, an experienced entrepreneur and GA at LaunchNet. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi.
How's it feel to be back?
It feels fantastic.
Good.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining.
Of course.
How's your day going?
It's good. A little hectic, as you know.
Your whole week has felt a little hectic.
A little bit. We've got lots of stuff going on at LaunchNet this week.
We do, but we're going to have some fun now. Chill
Yes.
out a little bit. Today we are joined by Brad Smith, an entrepreneur who started with financial literacy and is now taking on a very different passion of his. Hi, Brad.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
If you're ready, I think we'll just dive right into it.
Let's get into it.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Brad Smith. I was born and raised in North Canton, Ohio. It's about 30 minutes south here of Kent. I've been an aspiring entrepreneur ever since my senior year of high school. I got involved in financial literacy because at the time I participated in a junior achievement business program. We got to start our own businesses. We realized we were about to enter college and we weren't really taught anything about how to manage money. So I wanted to create a solution that would combat that. So we came up with a board game. The first one is called Budget or Bust. It's an interactive game that teaches students how to save, invest, and budget their money. Newest game is called Ways to Wealth with my current business, Vinci Learning. And then I also am working on a couple other business ventures. I'm looking to start a podcast and a sports memorabilia business as well with my friends.
Nice. I wish I had your financial literacy board games much earlier on.
Yes.
I feel like even playing, because I played your Ways to Wealth board game with some of the Upward Bound high school students we had over the summer. And even playing that, I was like, gosh, I don't know anything. Which is embarrassing to say, but it's okay. I'll play the board game a little bit more and I'll figure it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, you told us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey in financial literacy. But we feel like, at least those of us who have kind of known you and seen your journey over the years, we feel like you've taken this shift, right, into sports memorabilia. So what really inspired that?
So the sports memorabilia, I was inspired because I grew up in Canton, Ohio. So the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's literally right there. I was born literally like 100 yards away from the Hall of Fame stadium itself. So that's a really cool story. And I've pretty much fell in love with football ever since then. It was a great way for my friends and my dad to bond. And I've always wanted a way to get into the business, and I found sports memorabilia mixed with sort of an entertainment thing would be really interesting and fun for me and my friends to do. And then in terms of sort of straying away from education, I still want to do education. I've just found that at the age of 22, it is not the most robust business in terms of cash flow. So I'm entering that point where I'm having to pay the bills and sort of join the real world. So I'm trying to come up with business ventures that are able to give me that consistent cash flow, but I still want to be in the education space. Long term, I do think my biggest impact on the world will be through education. It's just a matter of time and building up the resources and connections and network necessary to do that.
Yeah. A couple questions. Your sports memorabilia business, is that going to focus strictly on football? Or?
It will predominantly be football to begin with because that's just the niche and that's what we're all familiar with. I also want to do mixed martial arts because I'm like really, really into UFC and stuff like that. So hopefully I don't want to waste all that knowledge I have and I can utilize it later on.
Yeah. And then in terms of education, because you're saying you want to make your biggest impact there and that's what you see yourself doing, is that going to be with the more financial literacy side of things, or do you see education elements in your sports memorabilia business?
I would say more like financial education. I want to teach people real life skills because I know when I went through high school and even some aspects of college, I felt like I was taught things at time that I didn't find the most applicable. So I want to create products that teach people those things. Long term, what I've always wanted to do was create gamified like learning simulations. So I grew up a really big like video gamer. I would play video games all the time with my friends in my basement and stuff like that. And I've always thought if I was able to combine both simulated learning along with finance and just real life, it would be really, really fun. And like I want to create games where you get to, it's sort of like the game of like BitLife, if you ever seen that on the phone, but I want to make it more of like business oriented where you are given certain circumstances, like you're living in California, your parents make X amount of money and you have these sort of attributes, and then how do you create a business and scale it and make all of these decisions and sort of run like a hypothetical life. And you're
Yeah.
introduced to all these operations and concepts of running a business without having to take any of the risk. So I think if students were introduced to that in just high school or middle school, not only would it teach them so much about business and financial literacy, but it would give them guidance and like, oh, this operation stuff looks really interesting. Maybe I want to pursue that in college. So I think that would be very helpful for students as well.
Yeah. So with these gamified experiences, are you seeing kids playing these on their own, like just for fun, or are you seeing them integrated into the classroom?
I could see it as both.
Okay.
And that's why it could be really fun. You could view it as a game like on the App Store or something like that, or it could be a full-fledged curriculum where you could have AI in there so it's able to sort of judge your decisions, and it could be a whole like classroom experience.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking even in like some college classes, I think they have this game where you like try to sell these backpacks all across the world or something. Yeah, I played it in my marketing class, I believe. So it would be cool to see these types of games. I think they can make a real impact even at that level for students.
Yeah, totally. So we want to know, are there any elements that have carried over from one business to the other, or are these like totally separate experiences?
Oh, definitely. Like I'm on my third business already, which is a bit crazy. And what I've noticed is that initial process of when you're starting the business, it takes an immense amount of energy, you know, just being on that computer and trying to think of, okay, how is the operations going to work? What is the branding? What is the logo? What colors? Like all of these tiny, tiny details that you don't really necessarily think about before you get into it. And what I found is when I've been doing this third business, it's been a lot easier to sort of come up with that brand and recognize all of these very small details that was difficult to sort of do when I was first starting out. And then additionally, just like the confidence to be able to do all these things. Like I've already found a supplier for a board game. So it's like, how hard can it be to find it for sports memorabilia and stuff like that? So I have a lot more confidence to take on tasks as well.
Yeah. Is there anything that's like brand new with this new venture?
The media, like entertainment and podcasting, definitely.
Gotcha.
Because I'm targeting a different demographic, sort of people my own age range and college students. So I have to find a way to reach them. And I've never really made like social media. I've never really been into it that much when I was growing up. I just got on Instagram like 2 years ago. So all of this is like still somewhat new to me. So it's very exciting just being able to like learn and see what I can make and just be, you know, creative, of course.
Yeah. What are your current thoughts on how to best reach your demographic? Like certain platforms that you're looking at more, or what are the methods you're thinking?
Predominantly Instagram and TikTok. So part of the memorabilia business is we'll be like live streaming, selling part of the product. So that will be done on TikTok because they have like a very seamless TikTok shop and a great algorithm that will be able to find our specific demographic. Now, in terms of directing people to the live streams, that is where the challenge is. And that's where we'll have to make a lot of social media clips and content. So that will be composed of, you know, podcasts, which I sort of built that studio. So we'll be taking clips out of that as well as the full-fledged version. And then additionally, sort of like short social media clips you see on like TikTok of, you know, in-person interviews or just going out at a Cleveland Browns game or something like that. And they'll just ask random people football questions or football news, and you just sort of record yourself like those TikTok videos and you're just talking over like footage in the background. So I think if we really showcase our personalities and do sort of all those different media, I think people sort of fall in love with us, and then they'll sort of follow the breaks as well. And then additionally, I want to do like, because we're like a bunch of goofy college kids, I want to do like a bunch of challenges where, you know, it could be like very random. Like we tried jujitsu for 1 week in the summer. So one of my ideas is like spin like a random wheel of like funny things, and one of us could go spar against like a jiu-jitsu black belt and record it for just like a fun little thing to add to like a live stream and stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice. What was my question? Oh my gosh, I just had it. It disappeared. In terms of the podcast, I guess what's the topic? Like what's it going to be about? Because I know sports memorabilia is like overarching, but...
It will predominantly just be about like sports and the NFL and sort of what's going on and the trends, and just us being, you know, goofy college kids sharing our own personal stories and being authentic.
Nice.
We're still sort of figuring out like what exactly we'll be doing. So when we get those test trials, we'll sort of see like what works and what not.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Very
interested to really see the tie-in between like the sports memorabilia, like the revenue generating side of it, and the media side of it. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, the goal is like to create a big brand, and then you have all these different things under like the umbrella. So you have like the podcast, you have, the breaks is what they call it, with like the live streams and then the social media content all together. So we have like all this cumulatively, and then I assume over time we'll sort of figure out like, hey, I don't really like doing this as much, or it's not helping, so we could sort of allocate our energy towards what's working and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Trial and error.
Exactly.
So we were talking about this a little bit earlier before we started recording. You've been quite busy with all these pitch competitions, either here on campus or even off campus, getting involved with those. So can you tell us about your experience with that and how you've progressed from like your first pitch competition up till now?
So thankfully, I couldn't even tell you how many pitch competitions I've probably done over the past couple years, but I was very fortunate to have gone to a great high school where, as I previously mentioned, we had that business program. So I was thrown into the pitches almost immediately, and even during then, I didn't have any experience public speaking or anything. Everybody was just scared in my group, and I was like, oh, I'll do it, why not? And I just sort of winged it, and I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I actually sort of enjoyed it. And ever since then, I've pretty much just doing, 2, 3, 4 pitch competitions, every couple months or so. And
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like I've gotten to the point where it's like a bit redundant doing pitches. Like I'm like, I just want to go and sell and be in person, but it's a great opportunity to talk about your business and gain public speaking experience, as well as receiving the funding to help run your business, which is absolutely huge, especially if you're a broke college kid. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, besides that, you're involved with the Brinzo Center here on campus, with LaunchNet, of course, and you've been studying abroad. So what advice do you have for students who are really looking to get the most out of their college experience like that?
I absolutely love that question, because I do think there are a lot of college students that they don't make the most out of all the resources available, or they realize it way too later to when they're a junior or senior. I literally had a freshman yesterday. He just emailed me asking about studying abroad, and I wrote him a whole book, because I was like, I'm just so happy that a freshman is here and he's taking the initiative to learn about all these resources. But I would say for a freshman or somebody, just try to join as many clubs and talk to as many people, befriend all of your professors, just show up to all the events, and you'll learn all these cool things going on. You'll be inspired by other stories, and pretty much I think the most valuable part, at least of the college experience for me, has easily been all of the resources available. Definitely.
Yeah.
What is the biggest challenge you've experienced in your entrepreneurial journey, and what did you learn from that?
The biggest challenge. There's so many to choose from, right? I'd probably say time management would be the biggest challenge, and just sort of coming up with that systematic approach that we just talked about off camera, about how
can you dive into that a little bit?
So you guys are going to think I'm a little crazy for this, but so when I was really deciding to become an entrepreneur, I realized, I'm reading all these books and these success stories of these people, and they all have these systems and these habits built in place. So I read the book Atomic Habits, and I was like, okay, I need to start applying some of these things. So it started about 2, maybe 3 years ago, and I would literally write down every single thing I did every single day, because that way you can't lie to yourself. You can have what you thought was a good day yesterday, but in hindsight, maybe you didn't get as much done as you thought you could have. So it's a really great way of keeping myself in check. And then I would accumulate this data into a weekly review. So I'd sort of quantify it and be like, okay, how many times did I work out? How many chapters did I read? Et cetera. And then sort of evaluate the week. Like, what were the highlights of the week? What did I learn? What are the things going on in my life that I can refer to later on? And then it also turned into a daily journal too, coming from collecting everything I do every day. And I found this has helped me be able to manage all these different things at once. It allows me to stay present. And most importantly, this habit, it enables you to sort of evaluate your own progress as you go on. I can look back 2 years ago and see who I was, and it is an entirely different person from who I am today. So I find that extremely satisfying, if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because I feel like overall I can tell also I've had growth as a person over the years, but I don't have the details of it. Those blanks are still there in my mind of okay, but how exactly have I changed? What exactly did I do to get to this point? So that's cool. You have a little history of that to refer to.
Yeah, definitely. So looking forward, we want to know, what are the future goals of your business?
Future goals.
Businesses.
So firstly, I want to be completely independent. I want to be able to pay off all the bills myself because that's most important, of course, and then I can allocate more time towards my businesses. Altogether, what I've noticed for my businesses, I was thinking about like what is my brand sort of, even though they're in different industries, it's still uniform in the sense that, you know, it's authentic and I love to have fun. I like to make fun out of pretty much everything that I'm doing. And ultimately, I just want to get paid to do the thing that I love, as well as, you know, helping people along the way in the form of through the products or creating fun events and just having that sort of community impact. That's the long-term goal I have.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, amazing. So this is the final quote unquote serious question. And we asked this to every one of our guests. How would you describe an entrepreneur?
How would I describe an entrepreneur? So I would say an entrepreneur is more of like a spirited thing, because you don't have to necessarily own your own business to be an entrepreneur. I've been recognizing this recently when I've been on sort of a job search. For example, financial advisors, you may not think of them as being more entrepreneurial, but they represent a company. They're still building their own book of business. They're still their clients. They can sell that book of business. So they're still entrepreneurs. So I'd say anybody that really showcases that passion and spirit and resilience to, you know, go through hardships and then always get back up and keep on trying and trying, because I think persistence is, you know, pretty much the main indicator of an entrepreneur.
Yeah. It's necessary for that journey.
It's everything.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool. Are you ready for the rapid fire?
Yes.
Are you ready for the rapid
I'm
fire?
ready.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Gotta get ready. Okay. Brad, what's your favorite board game?
My favorite board game, Ways to Wealth.
Oh, of course. Great answer. Great answer.
Okay, next question. And I'm going to give a little backstory for this one. So in the office last week, we were having a little wing taste testing from Buffalo Wild Wings. And Buffalo Wild Wings has 4 different categories of the heat for each wing. So they have a mild, a medium, a hot, and then a wild. And everyone in our office was fine until the wild. We got to that one. I think all of us were basically
It was so
dead.
bad.
It was horrible. We were crying. We were sweating. We were
floor.
sniffling. Like, everyone was a mess. Brad walks in because he had a meeting with one of our advisors. And we tell him about the wings. We're like, oh, yeah, feel free to try one. There was one wild level wing left. He cuts it in half. He has a bite. He's like, oh, yeah, I feel that. But no physical reaction otherwise. Totally fine. They get ready to leave for their meeting. He takes the other half, eats it, and just goes on his merry way. And then Teddy, who you were meeting with afterwards, was like, he was fine. Not a tear, nothing. He was totally cool. So the question after that long story, do you like spicy food? What is the spiciest food you've tried? How did you survive that?
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't think it was that bad personally, but my mom, she like eats a ton of spicy food, so I guess maybe we have that like genetic thing. In terms of the most spicy food I've eaten, it was when me and Caitlin, we actually went to the rice business competition in Texas, and we were joined with somebody who was from India, and we were like, oh, we need to get Indian food, and we were like, it's spicy. She goes, you don't know what spice is. So we go to this random truck, and I'm just like, okay, you can order for me, and she orders for me, and she gives me this thing, and it was real. It was like very, very spicy.
I don't think I was there for that.
It was hot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was.
Sad I missed it.
Maybe it's good you did.
Honestly, maybe. I have asthma, so that probably wouldn't be good for me.
I don't think you would have survived that one.
Probably
after
not.
the wing.
I did a tongue dip of the wing, and I was like...
That was enough.
Yeah, that was enough. Okay. Have you seen the movie, The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
What are your
yes.
thoughts?
So that is a funny question for like all finance people, because most like finance guys, you know, they call us finance bros. They're like, oh, Wolf of Wall Street, awesome, best movie of all time. And I have mixed feelings about it. I've read the book, so it strays very different. The movie's a bit more dramatized in comparison to the book. I mean, it's still the same craziness. I like the movie from like an entertainment perspective, but if you want to be, you know, act as like a parent or something like that, I don't think it's necessarily the best thing for a lot of people to like idolize. And then you see a lot of finance people, they go, oh, I want to be the Wolf of Wall Street, I want to make all this money, I want to live that lifestyle, but they miss like the point of the movie is like this isn't like the lifestyle you want. Like, it really wasn't as good. He had all these tangible things, but But at the end of the day, he really wasn't that happy. He was so miserable, and he was reliant on all of these stimulants, from the moment he woke up to the second he went to bed. And I really think that's a lifestyle.
And it ruined all his personal relationships.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
You're a finance guy, so we had to ask you.
Yeah, exactly. I've been asked that like multiple times. That's funny.
Okay, question number 4. So one of our insiders tells us that you're Greek.
Yes.
What's your favorite Greek food?
What's my favorite Greek food? Slovakia.
Oh, what
That's
is
a
that?
good one.
It's like steak on a stick.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good.
I think I like Italian food a little more though, so don't tell my family. But
I hope they're not listening.
What's your favorite Italian food then?
It sounds basic, but like the pasta, like all the different types of
Same.
pasta.
I'm a
that
pasta
they
girl.
have.
What's your favorite noodle?
Favorite noodle? Oh dear, I don't know if I'm that educated. Probably angel hair because it's easy.
I love angel hair.
It's
I think it's
good.
fun to like wrap around. Funny
Yeah.
story, when I was studying abroad in Italy, I had a knife and I had angel hair and I like cut the
Yeah.
spaghetti. Didn't know you're not supposed to do that. And the waiter, goes up to pie me and he puts me in a headlock. And like it's a joke and he's just laughing and I'm just like, what is going, like I don't know you. And then
Yeah.
he just sort of laughed and patted me on the back, and I've never cut pasta to this day ever since then.
I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, it makes sense though. You don't
Yeah.
want to ruin the art,
Yeah,
you know?
they don't like that. Like, and I don't even know why they gave me a knife. Like,
Yeah,
Good point. It's on them ultimately.
I know. What do you expect?
crazy. Okay, final rapid fire question. Would you rather the Cleveland Cavs win the NBA or you get to pitch at the Rice Business Plan competition?
Pitch at the Rice Business Plan competition, because if I do that, I'll raise enough money to where I can go to any game and get front row seats. Now, it won't be the Cavs winning a championship. If you change it to the Ravens winning a championship, because that's my football team, it might be a little different. But
Okay.
I'd pitch at the Rice Business competition for sure.
Gotcha.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up and say our thank yous, is there anything you wanted to shout out? Either one of your businesses, you want people to follow you on social?
Yeah. Follow me at social media at brad.smith3. That is my Instagram, and you can find my business handles there as well. I also want to shout out all of the amazing organizations that have helped me along the way. This is including LaunchNet, the Brinzo Center of Entrepreneurship, Magnet, a bunch of other institutions I'm forgetting of right now, and my senior year business teacher, Mr. Grady. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brad.
you.
It was
Yeah,
great to
thank you.
talk to you, learn more, and we look forward to following along with your podcast and seeing the new business grow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Anyways, guys, that's it. So let's get after it. Great job, everyone.
Whoa.